Hey everyone, it's a modern day Nana. Okay, I had gotten these little pumpkins from Dollar Tree, the stackable ones. They were orange, and I went ahead and I painted them with a um, spray paint that bonds to plastic. Now, this is just plain old Elmer's glue, kind of half and half water and Elmer's glue. I just made myself up a jar. I'll just put the lid on it when I'm done. I'll have it for, another project. That's just an old jelly jar. Okay, so I had gone out and I had just collected flowers from the yard and I had dried them. Now, I did the method where you put them in the microwave, you lay your flowers out flat on a paper towel or whatever you have, and you put another paper towel over them, and then I just used like a 8x8 Pyrex and put them on defrost for about 10 minutes. Now you'll be able to tell when they're dry, and of course different flowers take different amounts of time, so you might have to redo that maybe even up to 3 times. So here's some fern that I did, and this pumpkin is pretty tiny. This is the tiny stackable pumpkins. So I'm going to pull some of this off, and it's not perfect. That's totally okay with me. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to really coat this pumpkin with the glue because those are really, really dry. And we're going to have to kind of mold them onto the pumpkin since it's, round. And be easier, of course, if we were doing it on a flat surface. But, we're gonna work with this. So I end up taking and making the fern a little bit shorter. And then after I get that base really glued with the part glue, part water, I just start working gently. I've just got a little soft paintbrush there, and I gently start applying that onto the pumpkin. So it's got a base of glue already. I lay the piece down, and then I just go over it. Now you're going to see that I get it down here, and then I move on to the next piece. I didn't really have a pattern or design. It might be nice if you laid out a design like on your paper before you did it, if you want something particular. This fern was from the ferns I picked up earlier in the year for $5 a piece. No, they were 10 this year. I ended up getting 4 of them. And so I just went out and pulled some fern and dried it, and then just left it. I kind of just stacked things up afterwards in between paper towels and just let them lay there and dry out even a little bit more. So you can see I'm just, putting it down how I think it goes, and just kind of, you just have to fool with it. You just have to keep kind of going back and adding a little more glue and just lightly dabbing it, and they will eventually soften up, and you can work with them a little better. They'll comply more to what you want to do. Okay, now these are all flowers out of the garden, and just some little leaves from things. This bottom little flower was an annual. And on that bottom, there's a little bit of Russian sage, the little purple sprig sticking out. That's what I've got in my hand, is some Russian sage. I just did everything the same way in the microwave. Now, the one purple flower looking at us in the middle was a morning glory. Now, I've got to tell you, the thinner the flower, or whatever you're going to put down on your base, the easier it's going to be. Those morning glories were literally thinner than paper tissue. So they went down really, really easy. And then I just had a mixture of things all from the yard that I had saved, and it turned out really good. Now I had some yellow petals. I had a couple little yellow flowers I put on, but then I ended up just having some yellow petals that I kind of applied in different places. That top one there is a sweet pea. That top little one. I'm trying to make a design, and it turns out pretty nice, but I was just trying to put like a clump of flowers together in, different kind of places so that it all kind of came together in the end. See, I ended up pulling some off, putting some back on, and that's a nice thing about it too. You can work with it while that glue's wet, and then yeah, I ended up just messing with it, and I have ended up with quite a few. I've got some nice sunflowers too, but see, they're not going to stay on this because they're too thick. But they'd be good. They'll be good for some projects, certainly. It'd be cool to do is do a witch's hat. I was going to do a video on doing some different witch's hat, and wouldn't it be cool to take some dried flowers and make like a nature witch, or what do they call them, green witch or nature witch, anyway, and do like dried flowers all over her hat. Okay, well, see, this turns out pretty nice. See where I put the yellow? I just kind of, those were sunflower petals, and I just kind of stuck them around. But I thought that ended up looking really nice. Now I've just got some moss, and I just kind of stick it around, in random places. Now that pot was one I thrifted, and it was just a perfect sized little pot. It was, I think, gray, and I just took and put some spray paint on it. I'm just loving the spray paint, especially when it's summer. I love the spray paint because you can be outside and, it's smelly and you don't have to worry about it in your house. I did like a green and, just kind of like a tan color, and just kind of sprayed it on there. And it kind of made me think of it being mossy too. So I used the little glue gun again, and I used some E6000. So I am putting it on with a little bit of hot glue, and I did that in between each layer as well. Now those pumpkins do stack, and they have like a little rim on them, but in my experience, they didn't stay that well. So they needed a little help. So I put a little E6000. It doesn't show me doing that, but I did put random places of E6000 and then the hot glue, So that's what we did to get her all together, and then we just start putting a little moss in between the layers. Now I just took a raffia, just a little raffia bow, and tied it. I just wanted it to all look natural. So, woo, sorry camera work there. Sorry making you dizzy. That one on top there, that kind of long orangish looking one, was one of the trumpet vines from, I've got a trumpet vine outside a lady gave me years and years and years ago as a little start, and it's literally covering, I think I showed you in a video last year, it's covering the side of my shed outside. I love it. Oh, there's a little raffia bow. Pardon my arm. I can't ever seem to get my arm totally out of the picture. And that antique wax down there in the right-hand corner, I just put a little bit of that on the pumpkin stem and didn't do anything elaborate at all to that. I just wanted it plain. I felt like it needed to be plain with the dried flowers, and the moss, and just a real natural look. So I tried to hold back, because if you guys saw the last video, yeah, that thing was a riot of colors. So this is much more subdued, but I absolutely loved it. I have 2 more of these, so I might end up doing something else with a couple more little ones. And I thought it would be nice to do at least another just big round white one, and do like this with the pressed flowers. And then I could maybe, sit them together with another one. I've got lots of ideas on different things to do for kind of, I feel like this is in the boho theme um, of decor. And so, of course, you can mix and match and do a lot with that. You could do pumpkins with put fabric on them, or you could put designs on them. You know, I mean, so I think this turned out really cute. Um, we got the pumpkins from Dollar Tree and the flowers from the yard, and I really like it. So, all right, you guys, stay tuned. We have another video coming up real soon, and we're going to be doing more fallish, Halloweenish, Hobbit wedding stuff. And it's a Modern Day Nana. I hope that you will like and subscribe, okay? Thanks for watching.